All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Well, the 49ers, I don't want to say shocked the world, but they shocked a lot of people when they drafted Jake Moody with the compensatory pick at the end of the third round in the most recent 2023 NFL draft. And, there's no doubt that the Niners did their homework on kickers. And we had a chance today to talk to Brian Schneider, the 49ers special team coordinator down in Santa Clara during the OTAs. And the Niners, according to Schneider, evaluated 27 kickers. So they were looking for somebody to replace Robbie Gould, and partially for cap reasons. Once they signed Javon Hargrave and gave him the money they gave him, they knew they were going to have to, really be lean cost-wise at several other spots on the roster. And that meant that there was no way that they were going to franchise tag Robbie Gould and guarantee him over $5 million a year. And also, they probably didn't want to pay their kicker 4.8. And I think that's what Gould was making last year. So they went into the draft and they said, you know what? Let's find a kicker. And supposedly it was a pretty good year for kickers. But the Niners evaluated 27 kickers. They turned over every stone possible and then decided, man, Jake Moody is their guy. And through a couple of weeks of OTAs, Brian Schneider says that Jake Moody has been, quote, everything we thought he was, really consistent, really even-keeled, exactly what we'd hoped he'd be. And then he went on and he kind of explained the 49ers process in looking for a kicker. And he said, hey, you go through all the tape, and then our guys do a great job. Talking about John Lynch and all the scouts, they give you the rundown. And so we're starting kind of from square one. You look off the silent tape, you start to build your list, and then you whittle that down. And then ultimately you have to go work them out to see everything live. And that's the question you're trying to get answered. And it starts with the consistency of what people say about them. So before I even meet them, everyone in our building that's looked at them, I hear what they say, and when they go to their schools, you listen to all the coaches, the weight coaches, the assistant coaches, any assistants, any other players. You just try to find out, and then ultimately you have to sit with them, and you just have to get a feel. And it's funny. The Moody, I guess, connected on all 4 of his kicks on Wednesday at practice. He hit from 33, he hit from 38, and then he hit from 43, and then he hit from 53. And he's in a competition with the veteran Zane Gonzalez. Gonzalez made his from 33 and 38 and 48, but he missed from 43. But it's interesting. Schneider told us a story about the draft process. And he said, yeah, when I worked him out, there was no question what I thought about it. I wish I could have that type of workout every time you go, because it just kind of naturally happened. In his pro workout, he kicked off of sticks. In other words, where there's a stick, there he just kicks a ball, and all the kickers would like to do it that way. And I think he was 12 for 13, and he missed like a 58-yarder, and that's exactly what kind of talent he is. I always try to get him a holder and a snapper, and some guys can't find a snapper, and it just doesn't work out. But I'll take my snapper. I don't care. Or he says, I'll take any snapper. I don't care. He says, I want to see the operation of it all. And I want to see him under. And I think someone asked that question earlier, what it's like under stress. Anyway, he told this story about how Moody kicked under stress, and that if other special teams coaches were there, that he would have gone much higher. That he would have gone much higher in the draft, and maybe higher in that third round if the other coaches had seen the workout that Schneider was able to see. But Schneider clearly absolutely loves Jake Moody and was really, really high on the kicker. He loves the hang time. He said, his hang time was at 4.38. That's good hang time. But, he said he was talking about the other special teams coaches. And, he said if the other special teams coaches had seen the workout that I saw, that they would have taken him higher. And that Schneider felt great after watching Moody's workout because he was like, hey, man, I was the only guy, the special teams coach that was there that actually saw this workout. And so he feels really good about Jake Moody. Now, Jake Moody's nickname at Michigan was Money Moody. And let's be honest, the 49ers fans, for the most part, all Niners fans are pretty spoiled. We're spoiled when it comes to watching kicks. Why? Because Robbie Gould has been the Niners kicker in recent years. Robbie Gould has never missed a kick in the postseason. So if the 49ers were going to go with a rookie kicker, it's not fair, but that kicker was going to be judged up against Robbie Gould. So you had to go get a good one. And, I know there were a lot of people that brought up, oh, man, the Niners invested a third-round pick in a kicker. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal. Why? Because the fourth round is generally the round that teams look for special teams impact guys. If you got a great punter, he's going to go in the fourth round. He's not going to go in the fifth. He's not going to go in the third. Usually they're going to go right in that fourth round. And so that compensatory picks that the Niners had at the end of the third round essentially are fourth round picks. And the Niners didn't have an actual fourth round pick. So they invested their compensatory pick in Jake Moody. I think it's a great move, and only time's going to tell if Moody can do it or if he's going to struggle. And you never know. Roberto Aguayo was drafted a couple years ago in the second round and lasted 1 year in the league. And that was it. Out of the league, never to be heard from again. So there are a lot of people that are just like, you know what? I don't want to invest high picks and kickers. And that means absolutely no kicker in day one or day two of the draft, which means no kickers in round one, no kickers in round 2 or 3, and punters as well. But when you really think about, I was on with Stats a few weeks ago, and he made the comparison that a great kicker is like a great doctor. And it's a great comparison from the standpoint of, you don't really care how good the guy is until it's your life on the line. And then it's like, you want the best damn doctor you can think of. And it's the same thing for a kicker. And do you want a great kicker? Well, I don't know if I want to invest a lot in a kicker until you have to have a kick made and you're at the 42-yard line and the Super Bowl's hanging in the balance. Suddenly you want the best kicker. You want the most for sure kicker. So I like it. I really do. The one thing, I can't judge kickers like Brian Schneider or like many NFL people. But the one thing that is not hard to judge when you're watching a kicker, and that's the leg strength. And just watching a couple weeks of OTAs, you can see the difference between Zane Gonzalez and Jake Moody. Moody's kicks go, 20, 30 yards sometimes beyond the goalpost. He's got a power leg. And he kicked 4 times in the college football playoffs under pressure. Guess how many he made? All 4. He's 4 for 4. So the 49ers have a special, they really struggled on special teams. They had Richard Hightower. They moved on from Hightower. They brought in Brian Schneider. He had been in Seattle for years. I asked Robbie Gould, why is Schneider such a good special teams coach? He's like, he's got good plans, and they're basically pretty simple, and he's good at communicating those plans to all of his specialists and all of his special teams. And in Robbie's mind, that made Schneider a top-tier special team coach. And we saw it last year. The Niners were dramatically improved on special teams. And now, it was time for them to find a new kicker. And the fact that Schneider is well-respected around the league is great. And now the 49ers have hopefully found a kicker that they're going to have for the next decade. And I think it makes sense. Go get the best special teams coach you can find. In the Niners case, Brian Schneider. Let him go evaluate, the specialist, and then listen to him. And he was like, I want Jake Moody. I want Jake Moody. And John Lynch listened to him. And somewhere along the line, I have a feeling maybe several sometimes along the line, we're going to see a big pressure kick, and Moody's going to stick it right through the uprights. And the Niners are going to be glad that they invested a late third-round pick in Jake Money Moody. All right, hope you enjoyed our 49er video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. And thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.